Hey there, word detectives, and welcome to today's explainer. We're jumping right into a linguistic investigation to master an absolute foundational key of the English language, and that is the Latin root aqua. I want you to picture something for me. Imagine a massive crystal blue fountain right in front of you, and carved right into the stone of this fountain is a big label that reads, aqua equals water. Literally every single word we're going to explore today flows directly out of that one central fountain.
So, to kick things off, I've got a bit of a mystery for you. What do an underground well, a beautiful blue-green gemstone, and a crumbling ancient Roman ruin all actually have in common? I know, they seem completely unrelated, right? But stick with me, because I promise you, by the time we wrap up our linguistic journey today, the connection between these three things is going to be crystal clear.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our word detective concept map for how we're building our vocabulary family tree today. First, we'll establish the core root formula, then trace the journey into English. After that, we'll uncover variants and hidden relatives, master the top aqua words, and finally wrap up with the prefix power decoding strategy.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, the core root formula, where aqua equals water.
You know, this incredibly simple formula ranks right up there alongside other vocabulary master keys you probably already know. Things like spect for see, tract for pull, rupt for break, and bean for good. Mastering this one single root, it essentially hands you a skeleton key that unlocks hundreds of complex science and spelling words. So the absolute crucial question, the champion question every successful scientist or competitive speller asks when they see the letters AQUA is simply, what does this have to do with water? It really is that simple. That single question is your secret weapon, because it instantly unlocks the meaning of deeply unfamiliar vocabulary. Moving right along to Section 2, the journey into English. Let's look at the history here. So picture this. Nearly 2,000 years ago in ancient Rome, water wasn't just, a nice convenience. It was literally the lifeblood of the empire. They needed it for these elaborate public baths, sprawling farms, beautiful city fountains. It was so absolutely crucial that they built massive, breathtaking structures just to move it across miles and miles of terrain. The word started right there is the Latin aqua, and this brilliantly illustrates how the word survived. Look at this timeline. It makes it through the Middle Ages in medieval Latin, gets influenced by the French language, and eventually lands right here in modern English, especially in the sciences. Now, you might be wondering, why do modern scientists still prefer these ancient Latin roots? Well, it's because Latin creates incredibly precise words that are universally understood by researchers all around the world, totally regardless of their native language. It's a universal code. Which brings us to Section 3, variants and hidden relatives. It's time to uncover those hidden root cousins. As a word detective, you've got to know that as languages evolve over thousands of years, roots are going to change their spelling and their form a bit. Let's walk through the major spelling shifts you'll run into. First, we have the classic AQUA, pronounced aqua, meaning water, like in aquarium. But then we also have AQI, which still means water, found in words like aquifer. And we've got AQA, meaning water-related, as in aquatic. Now, I really want to emphasize this point. No matter what the suffix is or how the pronunciation changes, the core meaning is absolutely identical every single time. It always anchors firmly back to water. Okay, hidden relative alert. Here's a sneaky one that trips people up all the time. AQUE, spelled with an E at the end. While aqua is the common root pretty much everybody knows, this hidden relative is super easy to miss. But words like aqueous, meaning containing water, or non-aqueous, are absolutely essential, especially if you're in chemistry class or prepping for a spelling bee. So whenever you see AQ, your brain still needs to shout, water.
To make all these different variants a whole lot easier to remember, we can cognitively chunk this vocabulary into logical branches. Think of it almost like a giant coral family tree. We've got water places, like an aquarium or an aqueduct. Water science, featuring our hidden relative aqueous. We have water activities, like aquatics. Water exploration with the aquanaut. And finally, water nature, like aquatic and aquamarine. By organizing the words into these specific groups, it is so much easier for your brain to grab onto them and actually memorize them. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is we're opening the case files, Section 4, the top aqua words. Let's officially master this vocabulary. Let's break down our first keyword, aquifer. When we dissect this word, we see AQI, which we already know means water, combined with fer, which means to carry. So the literal meaning of an aquifer is a water carrier. And honestly, that makes total sense when you learn the modern definition, which is an underground layer of rock or sand that holds and carries water for an entire town or city.
Next up on the list is aqueduct. Connecting right back to our clever ancient Romans from earlier, let's dissect it. AQUA means water, and duct means to lead. So literally, an aqueduct is a water leader. It's a massive structure or channel specifically designed to lead and supply water straight from the mountains directly into bustling cities. It's a literal water leader.
Oh, here's a really beautiful one. Aquamarine. AQU means water, and marine means sea. If we smash those together, it literally translates to sea water. And if you've actually seen an aquamarine gemstone in person, you know it perfectly captures that stunning, sparkling blue-green color of ocean water. Hit the nail on the head with that naming, right? What about an aquanaut? Well, aqua is water, and naut means sailor. It's exactly like the word astronaut, which literally means a star sailor. So an aquanaut is literally a water sailor. This is such a perfect way to describe a brave underwater explorer or a scientist who's living and working down in the dark depths of the ocean. All right, let's do a rapid-fire review of the remaining top words in our family tree. I want you to really notice how the literal translations always guide you right to the modern definition. Aquarium is literally a water place, modernized as a tank for animals. Aquatic is literally of water, modernized as related to water. Aqueous, remember our hidden relative? It literally means water-like, modernized as containing water. Aquaplane is literally a water plane, modernized to skimming across the water's surface. And aquatics? That simply means water sports. Do you see the mechanics at work here? The literal translation acts as a bridge that always guides you straight to the modern definition.
And that brings us to our final leg, Section 5, the prefix power decoding strategy. Let's move to and see how this builds into the final step of our word detective training today. Here is a repeatable, 4-step framework, basically a forensic strategy, that you can use to decode brand new, highly complex vocabulary you've literally never seen before. Step 1. Scan the word and find aqua or its variants. Step 2. Immediately think water. Step 3. Find the second root or suffix in the word. And step 4. Combine those meanings together to unlock the definition. It is a foolproof forensic method. Okay, let's put that framework to the test right now. Can you decode the word aquaculture? Let's run the steps together. First, we see AQI, so boom, we think water. The second root is culture, which in a scientific context means growing or cultivating. Combine them together, and it literally means growing in water. So the modern meaning of aquaculture is the farming of aquatic organisms. You know, like raising fish or seafood. Look at that. You just decoded a complex scientific term using pure logic. So, as we wrap up our investigation for today, I want you to bring that core visual from the very beginning back to the front of your mind. That giant crystal blue fountain. Always remember, aqua equals water. By mastering just this one single root and its variants, you've unlocked an entire kingdom of scientific and academic vocabulary. But hey, the English language is incredibly vast, and aqua is just one fountain in a massive linguistic landscape. It really makes you wonder, what other hidden root words are out there, quietly shaping the words we use every single day, just waiting to be discovered and decoded in our next explainer? Keep those word detective eyes open.